Okay, so said about the liver. Liver is said to be largest gland, isn't it? Liver, we called it as largest gland. Liver, we say it is the largest gland. This is the first thing you have to remember. Liver is the largest gland. Among all the glands, liver is said to be largest gland. Okay. So, what is the body weight of the liver? Very good. Liver, we said, largest gland. That is the first thing. And its weight is about 1.2 to 1.5 kg. 1.2 to 1.5 kg weight. The liver is having 1.2 to 1.5 kg weight in case of adult human being. It is all in case of adult human being. Okay. So then, number of lobes in the liver. First of all, location of the liver, where it is situated. Where does the liver is get situated? Yeah, very good, very good. In the abdominal cavity. Liver situated in the abdominal cavity. Abdominal cavity just below the diaphragm, isn't it? Just below the diaphragm. Just below the diaphragm. Liver is situated in the abdominal cavity just below the diaphragm and towards the right side. Left side, who is there on left side? Yeah. Okay. So that's it. Location of the liver in the abdominal cavity just below the diaphragm towards the right side. Towards the right side. Okay. Next. Number of lobes in the liver. Number of lobes. Yes. How many number of lobes are there in the liver? Yeah. Two lobes. There are two lobes in the liver, which we can say right lobe and left lobe. Okay, so right and left lobe. So what do you see? Two lobes are present. Two lobes are present, and the right lobe and left lobe. What we can say it as right lobe and left lobe. Then left lobe. Okay, so right lobe and left lobe and the structure. Each liver lobe is formed by hexagonal hepatic, very good. Hexagonal formed by hexagonal hepatic lobules. Hexagonal hepatic lobule. Each liver lobe is formed by hexagonal hepatic lobules. Okay. Then if you take one lobule, the lobule of the liver, that every lobule is having separation. First of all, we are talking about the liver, that it has many lobules. Let me clear this. So, okay, so there are many lobules that we first of all about this right and left lobes are present. Then if you take over in each lobule of the liver, that we can see many lobules are present. What is the separation of one lobule with another? One lobule is separated with another lobule with the help of. So what we call this? What we're talking about? What we call this? The thin connective tissue sheath. The thin connective tissue sheath which separates all the lobules of the liver. What we call it as? What is the thin connective tissue? Yes, this is very important. Glissen's capsule. Yes, very good. Glissen's capsule. The thin connective tissue sheath which separates the lobules of the liver is said to be Glissan's capsule. So you have to remember Glissan's capsule. Okay, chalo. So that lobules of the liver, we have to talk about lobules of the liver. These are the lobules of the liver. Then let's take one lobule in the diagram. Let's take one lobule. There we can understand that particular the concept of the lobule. If you take one lobule, each lobule in the center it contains intralobular central vein. What is that? Intralobular central vein. That is very important that you have to remember. And from the intracellular central vein, we'll find hepatic cells are get arranged like this. The arrangement of the hepatic cells in the row, what do you say it as? Hepatic cells arranged in the rows like this, we can say hepatic cards. The row arrangement of the hepatic cells, we can say hepatic cards. So I am showing here the hepatic cards. So all these are the hepatic cards. Okay. So then let me label this. So first of all, what is this? This is said to be Glissan's capsule. This is called as Glissan's capsule, the connective tissue sheath of the lobule of the liver, which is separating with another. Okay. So what all these are? These are called hepatic cells. These are said to be hepatic cells. And here itself, again, you can see in the row, hepatic cells are present. Then that in the center, we have actually the central vein, intralobular central vein, we can say here actually. Because intralobular, inside the lobule, in the center, it is present. That's why intralobular central vein. So what we want exactly what we want, where does the hepatic cells are going, what the hepatic cells are going to do? Hepatic cells are going to secrete bile juice. So that you have to remember this, hepatic cells are going to secrete bile juice. Okay, so the secretion from the hepatic cells. So very important thing here that you people need to remember, bile juice secreted from hepatic cells. Bile juice secreted from hepatic cells secrete bile juice. Now the question will rise over how does that particular bile juice, hepatic cell secreted bile juice, that how does that is going to be transported over. So how does that particular hepatic cell secreted bile juice is going to be transported over? That's what we have to see here. Yeah. So that means we need to make some sequence here. Some sequence. So let us start from here. Hepatic cells which secrete the bile juice. So hepatic cell secreted bile juice. Hepatic cell secreted bile juice is collected by smaller ductules present between the hepatic cell. What do you say them as? Bile canaliculi. We say them as bile canaliculi. All the bile canaliculi opens into the hepatic duct. Okay. So hepatic duct of the right and left side. That means right hepatic duct and left hepatic duct. Right hepatic duct and left hepatic duct. So this right and left hepatic duct, I request that one of the students' audio is and you please mute your audio, that is resounding it actually. So right hepatic duct and left hepatic duct. So what do you say? Right hepatic duct and left hepatic duct opens into the common hepatic duct. Right and left hepatic duct opens into the common hepatic duct. Common hepatic duct opens into common hepatic duct. That means here the total sequence, whatever we got here, whatever we obtained here in this particular area, whatever the total sequence we obtained here, wait, it's coming in non-linear way. So let's make it. So this is whatever happened here. Till here, whatever happened, might have observed over some resounding is coming. My voice is coming back again to me. So till I say, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Please mute your audio. Okay, the total story, whatever you are seeing now, where all these things are going on, the total story is going on in the liver. That liver having lobes, lobes are having lobules, lobules are having the hepatic cells arranged in the form of hepatic cord, and that particular hepatic cell secreted bile juice collected by bile canaliculi, and the bile canaliculi opens into the hepatic duct of right and left sides. Hepatic duct of right and left sides is having opening into a common hepatic duct. Now we need to introduce gallbladder. Here I am introducing gallbladder. So duct from the gallbladder. Duct from the gallbladder is said to be cystic duct. Okay, so duct from the gallbladder is called cystic duct. So just we need to make it like this. The common hepatic duct along with the cystic duct. So normal times, what happens here? The gallbladder receives the bile juice from. Gallbladder is going to receive the bile juice from this common hepatic duct. But at the time when they want exactly to supply the food, that means to supply to the alimentary canal, both that bile juice will come from both gallbladder and liver also. Okay. So what we say here, this duct, cystic duct plus cystic duct from the gallbladder, common hepatic duct. What we call them as common bile duct. Okay. Here we need to introduce one more. Here we need to introduce one more. Who is that? Pancreas. Duct from the pancreas is called pancreatic duct. Duct from the pancreas is called pancreatic duct. So then duct from the pancreas, duct from the gallbladder and liver is going to form. Yes, common hepatopancreatic duct. The common hepatopancreatic duct. So that we have to remember this common hepatopancreatic duct. So this common hepatopancreatic duct opens into the common hepatopancreatic duct opens into where it opens. Yeah, common hepatopancreatic duct opens into very good duodenum. Opening of the common hepatopancreatic duct into the duodenum is guarded by sphincter of Oddi. Where it is guarded by sphincter of Oddi. I'm writing here. I'm writing. Here it is. Sphincter of Oddi. Okay. So finally reached here. Guarded by sphincter of Oddi. So that's it. That's it. Okay. So we'll make it in another way here. This is a complete sequence. Complete sequence. Let me show you here. So I'll start from this particular common hepatopancreatic duct. We'll start from here. Common hepatopancreatic duct. So now you have to say here, this common hepatopancreatic duct is a combination of common hepatopancreatic duct is a combination of
common bile duct.
Yes, very good. Common bile duct, and as well as pancreatic duct. Okay. So common bile duct and pancreatic duct. Now, if I ask you that common bile duct is the combination of Common hepatic duct, common hepatic duct, and bile duct. Bile duct, that means here cystic duct. Duct from the gallbladder, we say cystic duct. If I ask you, cystic duct is coming from? Very good. Cystic duct is coming from gallbladder. Okay. Common hepatic duct is coming from? Yeah, right and left lobes of the liver, we can say simply. And this pancreatic duct is coming from? Pancreatic duct is coming from pancreas itself. What's there in it? So liver, gallbladder, and as well as pancreas. These three are having that a common opening that you have to recognize. Why we are spending more time here, because that you need to notice this particular issue, whatever we are saying here. You people have to notice that from the pancreas, a duct arises, the pancreatic duct. From the gallbladder, a duct arises, that is cystic duct. From the liver, there a duct arises called common hepatic duct. Common hepatic duct, cystic duct, collectively called common bile duct. And and the duct from the liver and gallbladder, we call common hepatic bile duct. Common bile duct. Duct from the pancreas, what do you say? Pancreatic duct. So both are going to unite and form, common hepato-pancreatic, common hepato or pancreatic duct. We can say here, let me see here, let me make some correction. So that what we are saying here, these both are going to open into common hepato-pancreatic duct. Let me write this back again. Common hepato-pancreatic duct. Okay. So then this particular common hepato-pancreatic duct opening, we say opening as, where it opens means we are saying that where it opens, common hepato-pancreatic duct opens into duodenum, isn't it? Where it opens into the duodenum. So what do you call that opening as? Opening is, we have a name, actually we don't have that in NCERT. Just knowing that, it will be much better for us. Opening is called ampulla of Vater. Opening here called ampulla of Vater. Just I am writing here. Opening is said to be ampulla of Vater. Okay, ampulla of Vater is guarded by sphincter of Oddi. We say here it is guarded by sphincter of Oddi. Okay, so this is the total story that we may get the possibility here. The question as a sequence question even. So that's why we made it like this, a full sequence from the duodenum angle. If you see the total issue will be seen like this from the duodenum. From the duodenum, we have duodenum actually receiving common hepato-pancreatic duct, which are coming from the pancreas as pancreatic duct, liver and gallbladder as common bile duct. Simply we can say like this. So this sequence you people need to remember. Okay. So shall we move forward here in the case of liver, because we have to see a lot of issues related to the liver. Then first of all, need to go with bile juice. Liver secreted bile juice. So what the liver what liver can do? Liver can secrete bile juice. So what is bile juice? That we have to see. Okay, bile juice is a particular component which we can say here. The bile juice is having bile salts and bile pigments. So first of all, let me say about the bile salts. The bile salts are said to be the glycolate and tarcholates of sodium and Yeah, very good, very good. Glycolates and tarcholates of sodium and potassium, we can say here, bile salts. So what we say bile salts, what is the function of bile salts? The function of bile salts is going to be that you see here. This is said to be the fat globules, which we are taken through the food. So food fat, we can say whatever the fat materials we are taking in the form of food. So what we have to do then, that we need to convert these particular in the form of smaller molecules. What is the advantage when you convert them into the smaller molecule? What is the advantage? It increases the exposure area for the enzymes. That means here, you can see here, you can see here. So smaller molecules are having more surface area for digestion in compare with the larger molecule. The smaller molecules are having that surface area problem. Okay, sure. So what do you call this feature as? We say this feature as emulsification. The feature can be called as emulsification. So should remember it as the bile salts. What the bile salt? What is the function of bile salt? Bile salts are helpful for the emulsification of fats. Then if what is the use of emulsification? It facilitates the digestion of fats comfortably and easily. It facilitates the digestion of fats comfortably and easily. So that is about the story of bile salts. And now bile pigments. Liver secreted bile juice, bile pigments. So let us see about the bile pigments. Yes, very good, very good. So these are actually formed from bile pigments are said to be, there are two actually bile pigments, bilirubin or bilirubin, you can say, bilirubin and biliverdin. So what are these bilirubin and biliverdin that we have to see? Okay. So generally after the completion of lifespan, RBC, after the completion of 120 days of lifespan, the dead RBC reaches to the spleen. That's what we use it to say spleen as a graveyard of RBC. We say generally spleen as graveyard of RBC. Okay. So whatever it may be, dead RBC or live RBC, RBC contains the biggest substance is going to be in the RBC is hemoglobin, isn't it? The biggest substance is hemoglobin. So in this particular hemoglobin, the spleen separates this in the form of globin. Globin is actually a protein portion. Globin is a protein part. That globin has to be sent for recycling. That need to be sent for recycling. Recycling where we are sending, where the red blood cell production is going to be happened over. So is that this story is not much helpful for us. This is going to be much helpful for us. The remaining heme. What is heme? What is heme? Heme is a toxic waste material. Okay, so we have to send this particular heme towards the liver. So here it is our liver. So what liver can do? Liver do the detoxification of the heme. So simply here we can write what is heme. What happens to the heme? Detoxification. Who do the detoxification of the heme? Detoxification of heme done by liver. So what are the detoxified forms of the heme? That, yeah, that's it. So after all saying full story, simply we can say they are the detoxifying forms of the heme of dead RBC. So finally you have to remember that only. Detoxifying forms of the RBC, bilirubin and biliverdin. So this is the total story of bile juice. So that along with that functions of the bile juice, particularly you might have observed over bile juice having bile salts are having function, but there is no function for bile pigment. Actually, they are the toxic material, isn't it? Actually, they are the toxic material. we have to send it out. The way we are finding, they'll go to the duodenum. Okay, so this is the story of liver. Then other functions of the liver, we need to go for other functions of the liver. That other functions of the liver. So let me. So liver, we said already a largest gland playing a vital role. For that, we need some information that we learned in the beginning of the classes. Who collect blood from alimentary canal? If I ask you, who collect blood from alimentary canal? Will I get answer? Liver collects. No, no, you have to say liver. From the alimentary canal, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, whatever it may be. So who is going to collect? Yes? Yeah, liver. We have some names: lineogastric vein, duodenal vein, superior mesenteric vein, inferior mesenteric vein. But no matter at all, finally you have to remember this single word. We call it as hepatic portal vein. Just need to remember as hepatic portal vein. What is this? This is hepatic vein. Yes, yes.
Whiteboard is appearing for us.
Only whiteboard is coming to you. Oh my God, what happened exactly? Wait, wait. Can you see the liver and bile pigments? ఇప్పుడే వచ్చిందా ఈ ప్రాబ్లం? అంతేనా? ఓకే, ఓకే. ఇప్పుడే వస్తే దట్ నో మ్యాటర్ ఎట్ ఆల్. వీ కెన్ డూ ఇట్ బ్యాక్ అగైన్. Yes, now? No. Wait a minute. Okay, okay. We got problem here actually. No, okay. So now can you see this now? Yeah. So we are talking about this only. Hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein is collecting blood from. This is hepatic portal vein. This hepatic portal vein is collecting blood from. Means you have to imagine like this. See this arrow mark? Should follow the arrow mark. We should follow the arrow mark. What is this? This is liver. Okay. So then after that, yeah. Okay, for example, so through the food materials, we are taken some amount of glucose. So that whatever it may be, glucose means carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are going to be digested in the form of glucose. For example, if that particular glucose is taken, microvilli are going to absorb the foodstuffs, that is clear. After that, where does it reaches first? Before it reaches to heart, where does that particular glucose reaches first? Liver. That's it. That's it. That we are for that only we are working here. So let me show you. This is hepatic vein and this is hepatic portal vein, hepatic vein. Imagine there are 1000 grams of glucose you are taken. 1 kg sweet తిన్నారండి. 1000 grams of glucose you are taken. Example. Don't worry. Don't get tension. Okay. So 1000 grams of cake is a suit out. Then actually we require only 100 grams. 100 grams is even not a proper calculation. 180 milligrams for 100 ml of blood is the actual calculation of the glucose. Just for our understanding, how much we require, that I am saying that we require 100 grams. How much we are eaten? Yeah, we are eaten 1000 grams of glucose. Now, let me, that this 1000 grams of glucose, where it reaches? Yeah, first of all, it reaches to the liver. Okay. That extra 900 grams, whatever you are eaten, is converted in the form of glycogen. This extra glucose, which we are taken here, is converted in the form of glycogen. Sir, why don't you write simply that why this much introduction is required? Because you need to understand the importance of this particular feature, that we say it as glycogenesis. This feature can be called as glycogenesis. Conversion of the glucose into the glycogen we call glycogenesis. So why should we convert the glucose into glycogen, sir? That's what you can ask, isn't it? Why should we convert, sir? Yeah, that why we have to convert, that I am showing here. Why? Because when we eat excess amount, imagine we are taken 2000 grams. How much we require actually? Yeah, requirement, there is no change in the requirement. Then now you say what I have to do, what I want to do, what I need to do. Huh? Yes.
When we require glucose, then the glycogen again transfer into glucose.
Yeah, we'll do it. First of all, the thing is running, you focus on this particular area. Okay, one of the function of the liver, I said now, glycogenesis. What is glycogenesis? That you eat kgs even, that balance, that means here you should remember here, you should understand what is the function of the liver. Liver is maintaining glucose balance in the body. Okay, so your eating patterns will be changed over when you are at home, when you are at party, when you are at restaurant. That different kinds of issues may influence you, isn't it? Different kinds of issues will influence your hepatic portal vein balance, isn't it? Whatever you eat, where it reflects. If I ask you hepatic portal vein, hepatic vein. So where it reflects, you are eaten, you are at party, you are taken some 3000 grams. If I say, don't get too much worry that I am giving just example itself. Okay, imagine you are taken 3000 grams. 3 kg cake tinnarandi. Where it reflects, in hepatic portal vein or hepatic vein? Hepatic portal vein. You see here that 3000 grams are coming here through the hepatic portal vein. It reaches to the liver. So what liver can do? Liver can convert that excess 2900 grams into glycogen. It is converting into glycogen. Finally, how much you can see? You can see always same here. Okay, so path is clear. Now after this, they go to the inferior vena cava, right atrium, right ventricle, will be supplied to all over the body. There is no doubt here. There is no doubt. It will be supplied all over to the body. Everything is going to be as in the same pattern. Okay. So that what I'm saying here, you understand the importance of the liver, how important it is by action. Okay. So then that function, what I said now, liver converts glucose into glycogen. So just that we have to remember. Wait a minute. So that we have to remember, liver conversion of the glucose into glycogen. So what we said, conversion of the glucose into glycogen is called as glycogenesis. Okay. So this is the function. For this, I took much time because you need to understand the particular and excess glucose. So next, you have to the same the whenever we are not eating, whenever we are not eating, that what should happen? Glycogen need to be converted into glucose. So who is doing that function? Yeah, same again. Liver will do the same function. What do you call this as? Glycogenolysis. Yeah, for this, actually, you should know the difference between the glucose and glycogen. What is glucose, sir? What is glycogen, sir? That let's talk about this. So this is glucose. Means smaller molecule. What is what I mean here? That smaller molecule. Chalk piece powder. Sir, what is glycogen, sir? This is glycogen. Got it now? Means here, yeah, the conversion of the glucose into glycogen. Yeah, that's it. Simply what we can say, conversion of the glucose into glycogen, conversion of the glycogen into glucose. Conversion of the glucose into glycogen can be called as, yeah, we can say it as glycogenesis. Whenever we are not taking food, you have to break down. If you break chalk piece, you'll get chalk piece powder. Like that. Glycogenolysis. Okay. So who is doing all these functions? That's all. That's all. The liver is having a huge role in our body. Liver is having a huge role. Liver is doing glycogenesis. Liver is doing glycogenolysis. Whenever necessity comes, that glycogenesis, what do you call it as? Glycogenesis, conversion of the glucose into glycogen, glycogenolysis. Okay, next, lipogenesis means formation of fats. Okay, next, gluconeogenesis means imagine there is a whole glucose is over. Sir, what to do? Whole glucose is over. So simple. We'll convert other than the carbohydrate. That means we convert the fat, the formation of glucose from fats. Okay, so let me say here glycogenesis. Is that it? Yeah, we got some mistake here. Glycogenesis. Oh my God. Went to. Okay. So that let's do one thing. Let me define one after another. Okay, number one. మీరు చెప్పండి ఇప్పుడు glycogenesis. Define it. Formation of genesis means production. Glycogenesis means formation of glycogen from formation of glycogen from formation of glycogen from glucose. Okay, next, the second thing. We'll go in order. Gluconeogenesis. Now try to answer this. Formation of glucose. Yeah, formation of glucose. We don't say directly from fat, generally from fats other than carbohydrates. Other than carbohydrates, generally that is going to be fats, no doubt about that. Okay, next, lipogenesis. Excess fats, whatever we eat, what we'll do? We convert into the storage fat. So formation of lipids, storage, for storage purpose. We say lipogenesis. Next, glycogenolysis. Excuse me. Glycogenolysis. Lysis of what? Glycogen. So what we have to say? Formation of, formation of glucose from the glycogen. This is only the different thing here. Formation of the glucose from glycogen. So these are the definition. So why we are saying all these things? Simply we say functions of liver. All these are the functions of liver. Liver can manage all these things. Simply what we are saying that liver is going to manage all these things. Okay. Next, the other activities. Simply we can say all these activities that whatever we said now with a single heading we can make it out. That is carbohydrate metabolism. Or we can say liver helpful for the carbohydrate metabolism. Liver is for maintains the carbohydrate metabolism. We can say, sir, what is carbohydrate metabolism? All these are carbohydrate metabolism, part of carbohydrate metabolism only. Okay. Next, we have to say that liver plays lipid metabolism also. Liver plays vital role in lipid metabolism also. Liver plays vital role in lipid metabolism. Excess lipid storage, all the things we can say here. Liver is going to maintain lipid metabolism also. In what way? What way that we have to write? In what way it will do? By the synthesis of cholesterol. Yeah, so by the synthesis of cholesterol as well as triglycerides. Very good. For the synthesis of cholesterol and as well as for the production of triglycerides. As well, same synthesis or production, whatever it may be. Okay, so these are all going to be the functions of the liver. It is participating in the lipid metabolism, liver that participating in the lipid metabolism, which include two activities. What are the two activities? The synthesis of cholesterol and the production of the triglycerides. Okay. Next. From excretory system, liver perform. So you have to write it much bigger. Ornithine cycle. Ornithine cycle. What is ornithine cycle? Simply we can define ornithine cycle as synthesis of urea. We can say ornithine cycle means synthesis of urea. Synthesis of urea we call ornithine cycle. From where? From ammonia. Ammonia is an excretory material, but that is a toxic waste material which we can't tolerate that. That's why we have to convert that ammonia into urea. Who do the conversion of the ammonia into urea? That's all. Our hero, liver. Liver perform ornithine cycle, which makes the conversion of the ammonia into urea. Okay. Then, any doubts here? Okay. Now we'll move on. We'll continue. Liver is a thermoregulatory organ, as I think I said this earlier to you. Thermoregulatory. What is thermoregulatory? Maintenance of the balance of the temperature. And liver acts as a osmoregulatory also. That mostly we have to say thermoregulatory. That osmoregulatory will confuse us. Indirectly it is doing. Wait a minute. That what has to go? Not when. Yeah. We'll make it out. Thermoregulatory. Thermoregulatory is enough for us. So liver is a thermoregulatory organ, which means, what is the meaning? Thermoregulatory organ. So actually thermoregulatory organ is going to be skeletal muscle. Whenever outside when you feel some cold or something else, what happens for us? We do shivering, isn't it?
Shivering.
Yeah, what we do shivering. Shivering means that is activity of skeletal muscles. The skeletal muscle activity, you can understand here. So that means here, liver acts as thermoregulatory organ, okay, along with liver acts as thermoregulatory organ. So that we have to remember, like, that means it is activity not only done by liver, like skeletal muscle. Generally, we do shivering, isn't it, with muscles only. So, like skeletal muscle, liver too acts as. So, liver too acts as. Here we'll make it that same. Liver too acts as thermoregulatory organ like skeletal muscle. So, that how that means takes part in the production of temperature. Okay, why? How it can do? How it can do? How it can do? It has large amount of glucose, isn't it, in the form of glycogen. Liver is having liver has large amount of glucose in the form of glycogen, isn't it? Abhi, that now only we said over. Now only we said over. Wait. Large amount of glucose in the form of glycogen. So whenever it feels necessary that it will convert the glycogen into glucose, breakdown of the glucose, it can generate the heat. Okay, so that's why we can see. Okay, then is there any help liver is doing to the skeletal muscle? That you remember it now, that we'll discuss in muscle contraction chapter. So just you have to believe this till the time which I explain, which I prove that skeletal muscle at vigorous exercise, they produce lactic acid. Yeah, very good, very good. You know this, I think. Pyruvic acid is going to be formed over, which will be converted into lactic acid. Okay. So this particular lactic acid, which is formed in the liver, this particular lactic acid, which is formed in the liver, will go to the, sorry, which is formed in the skeletal muscle, will go to the liver. There we convert the lactic acid back again to, yeah, glycogen or glucose, whatever it may be. So this kind of conversion which is happening in the liver is said to be as, do you know this? What do you call this as? This is said to be as Cori cycle. Detail we are going to discuss in the muscle contraction chapter. The conversion of the lactic acid into back again into the glucose into glycogen, we say Cori cycle. And after converting this, again we are sending this to the liver. That means converted glucose is getting back to the liver. Okay. So this is what is going to happen. Okay. Next. Liver acts as a hemopoietic organ. Do you know what is hemopoiesis? Poiesis means production. Hemo means?
Production of RBC.
Yeah, RBC production we call erythropoiesis. Hemopoiesis, that means production of blood cells. Actually, who is the blood cell production, who is doing actually? Generally, when we ask over, we say red bone marrow is responsible for the production of RBC or all blood cell. But what is the role of liver? Liver acts as hemopoietic organ. Yeah, liver acts as hemopoietic organ during embryonic stages. Liver acts as hemopoietic organ during embryonic stages. That we have to remember. Okay. So actually hemopoietic organ adult stage, we can say red bone marrow. During embryonic stages, liver acts as hemopoietic organ. So it is, you have to differentiate these particular issues here. Along with the spleen, liver acts as a hemopoietic organ. Okay. So moving on with other functions, liver is going to synthesize. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Here it is. సో మొత్తం లివర్ని పొగట్టమే ఇంకా మనం. లివర్ synthesizes plasma proteins. Did you remember what are the plasma proteins? Generally, whom we call plasma proteins? Albumin and globulin. Albumin and globulins are said to be the plasma proteins. So liver synthesize plasma proteins like albumin and globulin. These are present in the plasma. You might have seen over in that composition of the blood that, okay, next. Liver synthesizes blood clotting factors. Liver synthesizes blood clotting factors like, do you know who are called blood clotting factors? That is anticoagulant factor. Interestingly, anticoagulant factor also synthesized by liver. Okay, prothrombin and fibrinogen. Blood clotting factors like prothrombin and fibrinogen is from liver itself. Liver synthesizes blood clotting factors like prothrombin and fibrinogen. Okay, so next, what we say, blood clotting factors such as fibrinogen and prothrombin. Next, another anticoagulant factor, the same as usual. You have to say here, liver is going to produce anticoagulant factor. Who is that anticoagulant factor which is going to be produced from the liver? Yes, very good, very good. Heparin. Liver produce anticoagulant factor, heparin. That means we have to say synthesize. Liver synthesize clotting factors. Liver synthesize anticoagulant factor also. Liver synthesize anticoagulant factor also. Okay, so finally, we'll make the special cells of the liver. I'm going to introduce to you the special cells of the liver, which I'm going to introduce to you. That is Kupffer cells. Kupffer cells. Yeah, very good. Kupffer cells are said to be phagocytic cells. Phagocytic. What is phagocytosis? That attacking the microbes. That means here killing microbial. Simply we can say here, engulf the microbes. Mingestayandi. Engulf the microbes. Okay, so they engulf the microbes. What do you call them as? Actually, they are from monocytes of the blood that we'll discuss in the coming days. But you have to remember, Kupffer cells are nothing but hepatic macrophages. Kupffer cells are nothing but hepatic macrophages. Okay, so these are all the different kinds of activities of the liver. Okay, these are all the different kinds of activities of the liver. Let's take a look on that. What are the issues we are seeing about the functions of the liver? That functions, liver secrete bile juice containing bile salts and bile pigment. So next, after that, we discussed about this issue, which the conversion of the glucose into glycogen, glycogen into glucose, based on the necessity and requirement. That we said glycogenesis, gluconeogenesis, lipogenesis, glycogenolysis, All these are going to be the functions of the liver. And liver plays a vital role in the lipid metabolism also, the synthesis of cholesterol and triglycerides that we can see the about this particular liver. And next, liver ornithine cycle, synthesis of urea from ammonia, very, very important. And a thermoregulatory organ like skeletal muscle because it has large amount of glycogen. Then whatever the lactic acid produced in the skeletal muscle at vigorous exercise will come to the liver, will be converted back again into glucose or glycogen, will be sent back to the skeletal muscles. We call this particular cycle as this particular action reaction as Cori cycle. And liver is a hemopoietic organ during embryonic stages. Liver synthesizes plasma proteins like albumin and globulin, and liver synthesize blood clotting factors like prothrombin and fibrinogen, and the cover cells of the liver, phagocytic cells, which engulf the microbes, that hepatic macrophages, we can say here, that hepatic macrophages. Okay, so is it clear? Is it clear? Next, we have a little bit some more information about we need to go for that liver is the check post, not first check post. We can say here liver is the first check post for what? First check post for the whatever the toxic materials which enters into our body. Liver acts as a first check post that bars entry of the toxins into general circulation. How can we say like this? How can we say? How can we say? That means whatever the toxic material you are taking through the food, they are not going to the heart directly, isn't it? They are first going to the liver, and then after only they are passing through. I will show you the diagram. I will show you the diagram that, or else that we have to draw, because that much important that is. That means, for example, if a person is alcoholic, so heart, you have to understand, heart is the Imliban bus station. Whenever anything reaches to the heart, that goes to the body, isn't it? So this is the liver. This is the alimentary canal. So anything, if for example, a person is taken alcohol, okay, so that whatever the alcohol is taken through the alimentary canal, first of all, it reaches to liver, isn't it? So that's why we said it is a first check post. Alcohol is a toxic material. So that should be detoxified here. And after detoxification only, it will go to the hepatic vein and then to the post-caval vein, finally to the heart. So I think you understand this pattern, what I am saying here. Yeah, anything should reach first liver. But actually there is a danger. Because of this only, we can say the liver is the first organ is going to be damaged over. Damage of the liver is also, that means in alcoholic people, what happens to the liver? Liver cells are going to die one after another. So death of liver cells, we can say death of liver cell. More possibilities are there because it is going to be affected. Death of liver cell we can call cirrhosis. Yeah, cirrhosis possibilities are there for more for liver only. Okay, so now the question will raise over. Yes, yes. Yeah, after that heart cell. So how do this particular liver cell is doing this detoxification? Means we need to give that full credit goes to the a cytoorganelle, what do you call, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. A cytoorganelle called smooth endoplasmic reticulum. In the liver cell, detoxification is going to be done with the help of what is this? Smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Yeah, hepatic cell. Liver cell, nothing but hepatic cell, we can say. So all this is going to be done with the help of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. So that's it about the total information about the liver. Liver can be having more possibilities of the diseases even for the liver. They're all going to be the different kinds of issues which are related to the liver. Okay, then let's